So it is 12:01. So again, welcome everyone to our graphic design info session today. My name is Gary. I work at the Art and Design Department supporting graphic design, UX UI, visual arts, interior design, and interior architecture design. My background was in fine arts. I worked in graphic design, branding, and UX design for companies like Chanel, Brooks Brothers, and design startups like 23andMe and Cosmo. So with us today is Ivan Trujillo, specializes in packaging design, branding, and UX design, who has worked for Kimberly-Clark Corporation, Acuity Brands, Nice Limited, and Anthem IDO. He is also a freelance designer and has worked with Dunghill, Puma, Safeway, Lexus, Samsung, Emory University, and Maryland Jaeger Skincare. Yvonne is currently our program director and graphic design, UX and interactive design at UC Berkeley Extension. So he will be presenting this presentation. So during a presentation today, you could drop your questions in the Q&A box, just right on the dashboard, and then we'll have a few pause points to answer your question throughout the presentation. So here we are. Let me introduce you to Ivan Trujillo.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today here for our information session in graphic design. Happy New Year to all of you. Today, you're going to learn about the graphic design field and how we run our program at UC Berkeley Extension. There will be different opportunities where we have a pause during the presentation where you can ask me or Gary any questions that you might have. I have a master in fine arts in graphic design with emphasis in package design and product design. And so let's start. So the competitive environment in the graphic design field, it's in high demand. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects a 4% growth rate for graphic designers from now until 2026. And that means there are thousands and thousands of jobs available in this specific field of study. So these are the things that we recommend when students come to our program of study. Number one, that the person has a bachelor's degree. That's highly recommended. And then when you join the program, you will complete as a professional program in graphic design that has 7 different courses. And what that means is the combination of your bachelor's degree and your professional program in graphic design will open certain job opportunities, such as, like junior graphic designer, becoming a graphic designer, production designer, or production artist, a digital producer, a visual designer, an illustrator or infographics designer, brand designer, package designer, and interactive designer. Here is a sneak peek of our front desk at our campus in San Francisco. Later on, I will show you some other pictures. But in the meantime, I also want to let you know that the program at the moment, due to the pandemic, has been running for the last 2 years live online. And that means through Zoom and Canvas. So here are important aspects about why people come to UC Berkeley Extension. And so we want to meet, like our student needs, and some of those needs are career changers, like sometimes people come here to change, fields of study. Some of you might be coming for career advancement or to develop fundamental skills, something that you might not have at the moment. Learn the theory and practice of graphic design, and also through that learning aspect of like theory in terms of graphic design, we do something that is called hands-on learning, where you will practice a lot of those different skills by executing, you know, like certain tasks, certain exercises and assignments that will create a professional portfolio. And so like every course that we run is designed with that portfolio in mind. Why? Because when you come to the field of graphic design, the people that are going to be hiring, you know, like art directors, creative directors, and organizations in general, they're going to be looking at one's portfolio. So that means that by the end of the program, you will have a working website with, you know, like the projects that you would like to showcase in there. There are minimum 6 projects that we recommend students to have. Again, this is sort of like an important aspect within the industry. So if you have any question at the moment, go ahead and place it in the Q&A, and Gary will be in charge of the Q&A, and I can answer those questions.
Yeah, so don't be shy. If you have any questions, just drop them down in the Q&A box. Going once, twice. Oh, we do have one. So how many terms are there per year?
So there are UC Berkeley Extension runs 3 semesters per year. We run the spring semester that begins in January and ends in May. We have another semester in the summer from June to the end of August. And then our last semester, it's fall between September to December.
And then another question is, do students need to have working knowledge of computer programs like Illustrator or Photoshop?
No, students are not required to have any knowledge on those. We will walk you through. There are specific courses about Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop. And we will walk you through from beginning stages to the point that you can do, you know, like great outcomes when it comes to design by using any of that software.
So I am a career changer and I have no skill and experience in the graphic design. So is this program a good fit for me?
Yes, it is. It all depends of what your goals are and what you have in mind, but the way that the program is set up with all of the different courses is that we will walk you through again from beginning stages on how to like use a different software or how to come out with different ideas through the process of sketching, brainstorming, and then executing you know, like those different outcomes through the software that is used in the industry.
Let's see what else. Anything you would recommend to do before enrolling?
Not necessarily, just, you know, like come to the website, get informed. I will walk you through the website in several minutes in terms of like finding out what kind of books do you need, or what might be the recommended, the required software, and recommended and required books and materials.
Okay.
But you
so-
don't have to do anything in advance.
Okay, so I think we can move on with our presentation, and we'll have another Q&A in a second, okay?
All right, so as I mentioned before, there are 7 required courses. If one is doing the program full-time, it can be done in as little as 2 semesters. So, and that means taking 4 courses in the first semester and 3 courses in the second semester. The average time to completion is 1 to 2 years, and it depends, again, how much time do you have available. If the person is working full-time, like we recommend to take 1 or 2 courses the first semester to see how you feel with the workload, and yeah, in general, to see like what's your time available besides, you know, your 40 hours of working full-time. If one is working part-time, one can take 2 or 3 courses per semester, maybe 4. If you're gonna be a student, you know, like only doing that, then we recommend you to do the program on a full-time basis. So here are the 7 different required courses. And we highly recommend you to take the courses in the order that appear over here on this presentation, and it is also a way that the courses appear on the website. So you start with visual design principles, and that's our course number 1 in this professional program. We will teach you all of the different principles that relate to design, how to pair, you know, like typography, how to deal with color, like different color palettes, such as CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Also the RGB colors, which are red, green, and blue. And also hexadecimal numbers, which are good for web and anything that might be screen related. And you will also learn essentials of typography. You will learn essentials of navigation design when it comes to designing a website or an application. And there will be, you know, other important elements such as the Gestalt theory of design, which, you know, like goes to applying all of these different aspects that one needs to do in order to make successful designs when it comes to like graphic design or UX design. And then our second course like is Illustrator, and that Illustrator course, we will teach you how to use the pen tool. We will teach you how to draw from beginning to end. You can do all kinds of digital illustrations, such as, you know, like logos or icons or anything that can be related to, technically speaking, anything you can think of, right? Like you can make trees, you can make clouds, you can make, you know, like any type of illustrations that you would like to do. Our third course, it's called InDesign, and InDesign refers to a multiple page layout type of document. And so what that means is that through InDesign, you can set up like magazines, you can set up books, children's books, annual reports, anything that you can think of that requires more than one page. And so that's the software that is used in the industry. And the interesting thing about graphic design is that the software that we're going to be teaching you, whether it is Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, or anything about that collection, is used universally throughout the world. So like if the person wants to apply that knowledge, where you're in the States or you're somewhere in Europe or Africa or Asia or whatever continent, country you might be, then you will be able to do the same thing because every company uses the same software. Our course number 4 is Typography Fundamentals, and it is a class that you take in design before Typography Fundamentals because that's the prerequisite. And in typography, you're gonna learn how to pair typography. You're gonna learn about the anatomy of, the letter forms that you're gonna be using. You can design your own characters. You can draw your own characters by, executing them in Illustrator, and then they become an A, a B, a C, or a D, and that's your own input. That's your own creation. So you can see, you can design anything that you want when you learn Illustrator. And then like that can be reflected in the outcomes that you're gonna have in typography. In typography, we will teach you like how to handle like headlines, subheadings, like body copy, pull quotes, and things of that nature, as well as in InDesign. And so by the time you've finish the typography fundamentals course, you also will know about web type, Google fonts, so that you can design for both like print and for digital. Our course number 5 is Photoshop 1, and Photoshop 1 will teach you essentially on how to create composites. And that means, like working with multiple photographs, like perhaps extracting different aspects from, let's say, like 10, 15 different existing pictures. And then you will create your own, like final picture with the amalgamation of all these different little bits from all of those 10 different images. You might be able to extract the sky from a picture, and then then a house, or maybe a boat, a yacht, or anything like that from all of those other different images that you might have in order to create, a final outcome. Everything that you're seeing on this presentation when it comes to images has been designed by our former students. So you can get an idea on this slide on all of the other ones that I'm going to be showing you, that I have shown you, that we produce like great work in our courses, and people do, like get amazing, awesome design skills under their belt that can be applied in the future for, any type of job related to graphic design. And then our course number 6 is web design with HTML5 and CSS3. And in that course, we will teach you how to design a boutique website, something small, 4, 5, 6 pages. And that can be designed from scratch. You don't have to like know anything about coding, but by the time you finish the course, you're gonna have those skills under your belt, and you're gonna be able to talk to programmers and use the lingo that it's that it's part of the industry, so that you will be able to communicate with, like programmers and developers and people of that nature when it comes to, like designing an actual website or designing an application in the future. And then the program gets wrapped with the graphic and web design portfolio. And that's the culminating course. So like we want you to take the other 6 courses previously, so that you can fit, like from your previous 6 courses, then you can fit those projects into your final portfolio class. And in that class, like we will teach you how to tweak, enhance, and improve, like those 6 existing projects. We also bring guest designers that are going to be chatting with you one-on-one to give you feedback, right? Like about those projects that you have created. And also we'll bring a headhunter, we'll bring different people throughout the course to like help you develop like all of those different pieces. All of the courses, also like the previous 6 courses, have guest speakers. So like we collaborate with different people in the industry that help us and support, like our courses and the outcomes that we provide with each of our courses. Here are some other courses that are part of the graphic design, and they're in the category that we call further advancement. So like one of those is the essentials of motion graphics, which we are opening this semester. We're offering that course as like video and motion. It's like highly used these days for like branding purposes, and companies are doing, like advertisements that have motions. And so we want you to acquire those different type of skills too. Adobe Digital Tools will be a combination of Illustrator, Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, and we're offering that course for the first time this semester too. 2D animation and video editing, as well as illustrating children's books, branding, and also the university offers an internship in academic and professional practice. And I will show you how to get there from the website. That course is not run by our program of study, but it's run by the university, and they help, like obtain like those different internships in various fields of study. For that course, you will need to like sign up and do sort of like a pre-internship course, right? Like the semester before, and then they will guide you through and walk you through all of the different steps. And then you will do in the second semester your internship. And then we also have courses for further advancement in web design and UX design. And so if that's also important for you, we recommend you to take the essentials of user experience design first, and then any of the following afterwards, so that in a way, by taking the essentials of user experience design, you're well informed of what happens in the UX design industry and how that works. And then after that, you can progress into taking user interface design, diagramming and prototyping for UX, as accessibility in UX design, human-centered design for data visualization, design thinking, and UX strategy. Again, these courses are not required as part of the program. They're there for support. So like one can join as many courses as one wishes, depending of her, his, or their personal goals. And the technology that we recommend students to have is, number one, to have a laptop computer. And it can be a MacBook, you know, it can be any MacBook that has 16 gigabyte memory RAM, or a PC with similar capabilities. Another thing that we recommend students to have is the Adobe membership, which is $19.99 per month. And that membership allows you to use any of the Adobe software that we're going to be using in our courses. And so Photoshop is part of that, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, or any, like they have more than 20 different apps that are used these days for design purposes. The price that you're seeing here on the screen, that's the price for students and teachers. The professional membership is $49.99 per month. And then if you're gonna be, you know, starting graphic design, we recommend that you have a printer with multiple cartridges, sort of like between 8 to 12 cartridges. The more cartridges that machine is going to have, the better results you're going to obtain when it comes to like testing your designs, testing the quality of those images, whether they're photographs or vector graphics. And so some of them are Canon, Epson, and HP OfficeJet type of printers. Printers are very affordable these days. You can find a really good printer for under $300. And, you know, like if one is going to be also like thinking about freelancing, it will be good to like make the investment on that printer from the get-go, so that you can, you know, like start testing things and, you know, like ensure that your clients are gonna obtain good results, good outcomes when you're showing those final prints before they go to the printing shop. All right, so we have here many of our instructors that teach courses for the graphic design program. Not all of them are here, but these are some of them. So we have Ivera Karpatiova. She's an animator, illustrator, director, and educator. She works for herself. A lot of our instructors have their own design practices, their own design studios, or they work also for some other corporations. So Shoaib Ali Qureshi, he is a senior art director, freelance animator and educator, and he works for Digitals. Victoria Arriola, she's a creative art director and educator, works for herself. Josh Halstead, he's a senior manager, brand activist, educator, and an author, and he works at Opportun. Julie Downing, she's a freelance illustrator, author, and educator, and works for herself. Julie has published more than 45 children's books. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention is that what courses do they teach? So Josh teaches accessibility in UX design, and also like visual design principles. Victoria teaches typography fundamental. Shoaib teaches the 3D animation course. Ivera teaches animation design and video editing, as well as visual design principles. And then here on this slide, we have Aleka Edwards. She's a senior motion designer, a DEI advocate, and educator. DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And she works at Sinusoid Creative Agency, and she will be teaching the essentials of motion graphics. Ian Bolden, he's a motion designer and an educator, and teaches the 3D. No, he teaches, sorry, the explainer videos, a course that we will be launching in the summer semester, and he works at Google. Tom Gary, he's a creative director and educator and works for himself, has a partner, and they own Gary and Kelly Brand Development. Nicolas Gutierrez, he's a freelance photographer and educator, works for himself, and he teaches the Photoshop 1 course. Steven Werner, he's an educator, trainer, and author, and a publisher, and works at LinkedIn Learning and Adobe also. And he teaches the InDesign and the Illustrator courses, as well as the new Adobe digital tools with Nicolas Gutierrez. All right, so we are going to make a stop over here, like pause for a little bit in case anyone has any questions.
All right, we open up again for Q&A. As a reminder, put your questions in the Q&A box and we'll be answering those as they come in. Nope, we don't have any questions just yet.
All right, so we will continue.
Oh, there's one just came in. Let's see. What 4 classes do you recommend if you're going to go full-time, since typography requires a prerequisite?
I will recommend to, let's go back to that previous slide over here. I will recommend to take Visual Design Principles, Illustrator 1, InDesign, and Photoshop 1, or you can take also Typography Fundamentals concurrently with InDesign. And so you can do a switch in there, or you can take them concurrently.
Does the program offer scholarships?
The program itself doesn't offer scholarships. None of our programs at the UC Berkeley Extension do that, but the university offers scholarships, and we can guide you through that when I go to the website, and you can see what's available.
Okay, and the following up questions, we will probably not going to touch base on this, but basically is I'm interested in knowing more about how the online format works and how we interact with instructors and classmates.
Yeah, we will answer like those questions in the coming up slides.
I think that's all the questions we have. Yeah, I think that's all the questions we have. We'll just move on, and then we'll come back with a Q&A again.
Okay, and you're more than welcome to, like add your question to the Q&A, like before we get there, in case something comes to mind, just feel free to add that question there ahead of time. You don't have to wait for the post to do that. All right, so here is, like some other slides about, some other pictures about our San Francisco campus. We are located on 160 Spear Street, really close to the Embarcadero building and the Embarcadero BART station, and also the AC Transit. But at the moment, we are not there. So we're offering all of our courses, what we call live online, which is via Zoom, something similar to this. It's a Zoom meeting rather than a Zoom webinar. And then we have our learning management system. Our LMS is called Canvas. And then you interact with your instructor on a weekly basis. The courses run for 3 hours. Let's say that you sign for the Photoshop 1 course, and that Photoshop 1 course, it's offered on Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. for 10 meetings. That means 30 instructional hours. So you're gonna be with your teacher, with your instructor, in that meeting, like doing like lectures, critiques, presentations, breakout groups, and different assignments that are part of each meeting. And each instructor has, like his head of their own, like approaches to teaching and sharing the content with you. So some of them will be doing a slide deck. Some of them will be doing demonstrations. Some of them will be doing, like certain assignments. So like we kind of like have this methodology that we run for all of the different courses. And that methodology, again, goes with the hands-on approach where you like do and execute, like start some things while you're in the meeting with your instructor, and then you wrap up those different assignments as part of the homework that gets done on a weekly basis. Some of the homework will be, like readings or watching like certain films or watching certain like videos, podcasts, and doing different activities that are part of the main projects for each of those courses. I hope that answered the question that somebody posted in the Q&A in terms of the interactions. And then, like you're more than welcome to like reach out to your instructor via email in case you have any questions. And there's a policy by the university that the instructor has 48 hours to get back to students with those different questions. So they will individually explain to you how are they going to answer emails and what will be the frequency. But the university policy, it's 48 hours for answering emails. So in order to earn your award of completion, you will need to register for the program, like before you register for the courses. The registration for the program has a fee, which is $100. And that's part of what the register office, like does in order to have all of their students with, like the different ways they communicate with you and holding your like records, all of the different courses that we offer. They're 2 credits, and so like they will keep a record for all of the courses that you take, and then at the end they will issue your certificate of completion to your mailing address. And then as part of the University of California, Berkeley Extension, all students need to complete their courses with a grade of C or better. And that means that C- or D kind of like results when it comes into your courses, like those will not be, if you get a C- or a D, that course technically needs to be retaken because those are not passing grades for UC Berkeley Extension. When you sign up with us, you pay for each course individually, and those prices are available on the website. So what that means is that if you're paying one course in the spring of 2022, then you will just pay for that course. You don't have to pay for the 7 courses in advance or anything like that. And at the end, when you complete the 7 courses, you will earn your award of completion, your certificate. So let me show you what our graduates go on to do. So here is, like some of them. Of course, we don't have all the students and all the instructors on this presentation because it will make it like really long. But Suzanne Stevens, she's a visual designer at Sirena and Lilly. Clark Dolliver, he's a senior graphic designer at Finis Inc. And Kita Mantri, she's a head of design at 2. Lulu Wang, she's a product designer at Build.com. Ricky Pascual, he is a business owner and designer at Dynamic Design and Print Solutions. And Jessica Lang is a graphic designer at Balsam Brands. And I'm gonna show you when we go to the website, like there are some blogs that our university, some posts that our university does in our blog that is called Voices. So I'm gonna be walking you through that to like find instructor profiles and find, like student profiles too. I would say alumni profiles. So what is next? You can create a free student account. In fact, you already created a free student account because if you're part of this webinar, you already like sign up and obtain that information. Then what I recommend you to do, if you're gonna do this program on a part-time basis, enroll in the visual design principles, and then sign up for our monthly email. And signing up for the monthly email gives you reminders about when courses are coming up. We're not the typical university that runs courses like in a traditional way where they begin the same week and they end also on the same week. At UC Berkeley Extension, specifically in the professional program in graphic design, we have courses starting in January, and February, and March that are part of our offerings for the spring semester. So signing up for our monthly email will keep you, like that information like fresh. It will give you like those different reminders in case you want to do more than one course per semester. So some of our courses will be starting in January and ending in March, and some other courses begin in March and end in May, which allows like those students that are taking the program on a part-time basis, perhaps to do 2 courses during the same semester, and at times 3 different courses. So here is, like a recent a screenshot that I took. I teach the graphic and web design portfolio. And so here are some of our students with those designers that I mentioned that meet with you one-on-one. So to give you feedback on your projects before culminating the program. So we do that every time we offer the graphic and web design portfolio course, which is normally in the spring semester and in the fall semester. All other courses are offered 3 times per year, and there are multiple sections for some of them that are offered within the same semester. And then, like since we've used some of the images for this presentation in the graphic design field, and basically in any design field, you give credit to your collaborators. Sometimes you're going to be working in teams, sometimes you're going to be using images, for your own projects, and you got to give credit from where those images are coming from, or who are the actual like designers or owners of those different images. So for this presentation, we have Stephanie Borb, Ankita Mantri, Freddy Torres, Jason Stokes, Anne Leong, and Aisha Kilikoglu, letting us use their images for this presentation. And then here is our last post for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post those, and we're happy to answer those.
Yeah, so there's a question, but I already answered that. It's about our internship programs. How does it work?
Okay, so let me go to our website and I can show you that. Gary, can you see my screen over here?
Yeah.
The Berkeley Extension website?
Yes, your future starts here.
Okay, so you will go to academic areas, go to art and design, and then you will get to the art and design landing page. And here you can see the different programs that we offer. So like if you go to the professional program in graphic design, then before I answer that question about the internships, I want to walk our prospective students into how to navigate the website. So here, like you have a story about Lulu Wang, which I already like mentioned during our presentation. If you click on that, that will bring you to our Voices blog. And then there's a full article about Lulu over here that we're not gonna read, but I just want to make you aware of that. So if you go to a search bar and you type in there like graphic design, and then hit search, you're gonna have like different profiles of either like former students or instructors or guest speakers that we have had in the past. And of course, not everyone is over here because, you know, like our marketing department does this for all of the 75 different programs that the university offers. So like they're busy people and they only do X amount of profiles for each program of study. But coming back over here to the website, so if you click on the visual design principles course, all the courses appear on the right-hand side column. You can see over here like our course description. Then if you hit the plus sign on the course outline, you'll be able to see the course objectives and some of the aspects of what you will learn in that course and how you learn, and is this the right, you know, like course for you. And then if you keep on scrolling down, then you can see over here that there are two different sections with two different instructors, with Nancy and with Tom. If you click on the instructor name, there's gonna be a bio that you can read about their expertise. If you click on the C section details, that will be specifically for that section 79 with Nancy Cutler. And then it will tell you like the time of the class, Monday, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And then if you hit on a schedule and location, so it will tell you like all of the different dates that she's gonna hold their meetings and the time. It is a 2-semester unit. It is a 36-hour course. It's a live online. You will meet synchronously with, in this case, Nancy, once a week from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And here is equipment that, you know, like is required for the course. There are supplies and the, you know, mandatory book and the optional book. And the same thing, if you click on C section details for Tom, like some things might change. Let me go back to let me go back one more time. It's like running really slow. Let me go back to academic areas, art and design. And then professional programming, graphic design. And if you scroll down below the required courses, then you can find here the courses for further advancement that I mentioned. And so you have a long list of different courses that you can take, you know, like on the side of the required programs for the graphic design, for the professional programming graphic design. Here, there's an explanation of our curriculum requirements, how to register. So if you hit the submit the online registration, I've done this several times. You only need to do it like one time. Then that will be the $100 registration fee. And then the below that is the estimated cost of the program. Sorry, like this is jumping like for no reason. There's the estimated cost of the program. You will find the individual course prices when you click on each course. And then the certificate and award request, follow these instructions. And then here is the career services that's the department that runs the internships. And so if you click on that link, there are these two different buttons for students and for employers. So for students, you will come over here and see what they offer. They have the career development, the internships, and they have some events that they host on a semester basis several times. So here is an explanation of what you need to do for the internship. And so just follow the on screen instructions, and you will be eventually directed to a person who you can chat about the internship and all the specifics of their internship program. And I'm going back to our information session. And we're just gonna go to the last slide. So you can find us at extension-graphic-design@berkeley.edu. Also, if you want to make a phone call, you can call us at 510-643-8916. And our website is extension@berkeley.edu/spos/graphics with a P right there in the middle, .html. Thank you for being here with us today. If you have any further questions, please send them to our email that you can see over here on the screen, and we will be happy to answer like those different questions.
All right, so this is the end of our presentation. So thank you everyone for attending. Send us an email, follow up with email at extension-graphicdesign@berkeley.edu if you have any more questions. All right, thank you. Have a good day. Take care.